Hi, everybody. BJ with Very Basic Bible. Let's share my screen. There we go. Okay. Let's see. My face can stay that small. Put me way up there. There we go. Let's see. Some First John. Some interesting things came to me about First John. So I noticed that I'm pointing certain things out in First John and in other books of the Bible. Um, oops. Um, Whenever I point these things out and I'm like, here's what it is. And sometimes I teach on it more than once. I feel like I'm saying this is what it is. Now, a lot of times I do think that, but we're mostly trying to hopefully get ourselves back. We're trying not to do the theology, but we're trying to get the context, the culture of the time, the grammar, the understanding of the words, stuff like that. Here's an example. John 4. Go. Do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits. Right there. See where they're from God. For me, false prophets have gone out into the world. I went back twice and read a story from the Old Testament in the last two. If you go look at very basic Bible videos on First John chapter 4, and I looked at the same story. Oh, that must be what it is. It's not. I don't think that's what it is, and that's not what this is teaching. We're trying to get what was possible background to this. It's probably the background. Some people think believe every spirit, but test the spirits is more about, let's go see, 1 Corinthians 14. Wait, maybe 12. No. Okay. Pursue love, earnestly desire the spiritual gifts, especially that you may prophesy. For one who speaks in a tongue speaks not to men, but to God, for no one understands him, but he utters mysteries in the spirit. Do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to determine if they are from God. If it's a spirit from God or if it's the spirit. Right here, this is capitalized. On the other hand, the one who prophesies speaks for people. So over here, we got, let's hit up First John in this one also. First John chapter 4. Over here, we got, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God. For many false prophets have gone out into the world. So it's linking the testing of spirits and false prophets together. Spirits and prophets. You need to test the spirits. Why? There are false prophets over here. On the other hand, the one who prophesies speaks to people for their upbuilding and encouragement and consolation. What if it's a false prophet? Should I not test the spirit? Well, that's the Holy Spirit in this one. That's capital S, the Spirit, the Spirit of God, the Spirit of Jesus, the Spirit. I say the Spirit of Jesus because that's from there's in the book of Acts, uh, 15, I think, and then Philippians somewhere it talks about the Spirit of Jesus or something like that. Yeah. All right, but the Spirit. So what if it's some other spirit? What if it's not the Spirit? First Corinthians 13. First Corinthians 12. I think we looked at this whenever I did look at First John. Okay. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brothers, I do not want you to be uninformed. You know that when you were pagans, you were led astray to mute idols, however you were led. Therefore, I want you to understand that. So look, you were pagans, you were led astray, you were going after idols. So we need to teach you some stuff. We don't want you to be uninformed. You you were your past, you didn't exactly have a good teaching career or teaching. You weren't taught very well. You're going after idols, so we need to teach you some stuff. Okay, I want you to understand something. No one speaking in the Spirit of God ever says Jesus is accursed. Do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits. One way to test them: Jesus is accursed. You must not be the Spirit. um, Look down here. To each is given. Okay. Now there are many varieties. Now there are varieties of gifts, but the same Spirit. Look up here. Don't believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God. So you got multiple spirits, and you want to see if they are from God. Not there's a bunch of spirits and one of them is from God. There's a bunch of spirits and some of them could be from God. You look over here, the same spirit, one spirit, God's Spirit, the Holy Spirit. But here you got many spirits, it seems. Down here, to each is given a manifestation of the Spirit for the common good. For one is given through the Spirit the utterance of wisdom, and to another the utterance of knowledge according to the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to one the gift of healing by the one Spirit. So you get the gifts not from these many spirits. Now you see, I'm trying to say, I'm teaching you a little different this time. The last two times I taught specifically, I think I went back to Micaiah in the book of Second Kings. Yeah, I might have touched on this a little bit. Different teachers are going to go to different things. So I'm going to two things. I'm going to an Old Testament background of spirits. I think I went to King Saul also and some other places. And then some New Testament background for testing spirits and false prophets. Paul talks about prophesying to another prophecy. Yep. One of these is do not. There are varieties of the same spirit. But the same God who empowers all and everyone to the same God who empowers them all. So if you have a gift, it's not by one of those spirits. If you have a gift, it's from God. But a spirit of God could be speaking through you, because it says to test the spirits, for they are from God. For many false prophets, and what does a prophet do? Speaks. Why are we testing spirits if false prophets have gone out in the world, then why are we going to test spirits? You see, we're asking these questions. You go back to the background of Micaiah, where they had spirits, bad spirits, lying spirits in them. Saul had a good spirit. Then God sent him an evil spirit, King Saul in 1 Samuel. Is that the background? I think so. I don't know what else would be like there might be other places in the Bible where we can find spiritual stuff. But a lot of teachers don't emphasize this. They emphasize testing the spirits. Don't believe every spirit. Okay, that's what it says here. Test the spirits. So if I emphasize certain things, other teachers are going to emphasize other things. Other people. So it's like, oh, that's exactly what this is about. Let's say I just talked about Micaiah. Oh, that's what, and then another teacher talked about Saul. Oh, okay, that's what this is about. So you look at Saul and you get all your information from King Saul. Oh, that's what this is about. That guy who's talking about Micaiah, he was wrong. Well, then you hear somebody going, oh, it's about testing the spirits. And they don't go to back to the Old Testament at all, but they just go to First Corinthians. And oh, why are y'all going back to Micaiah? And so that has nothing to do with it. We just need to go back to First Corinthians because that's what you heard a teacher say. Different teachers are going to teach different things. Hopefully, we can get a broad enough. Let's keep reading because I found some interesting things. Okay, that's enough with the, different teachers are going to say different things at different times. Okay, let's keep reading because I've found some interesting things. So here's part two. That was part one. Part two. Okay, but this the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is from God. Every spirit that does not confess Jesus is not from God. This is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have heard, which you heard was coming, and who now is already in the world already. Little children, you are from God. The Antichrist is from us going out into the world. Little children, you are from God and have overcome them. Who the Antichrist? The false prophets. For he who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. Who is in the world? False prophets have gone out into the world. People think, oh, that's Satan. Why? Let's look real quick. Why would some people see? Here's another example. Different teachers are going to teach different things. This world. Let's see if I can find it. I think it's in Ephesians. Ephesians. Right there. In which you once, full chapter. Greater is he that's in you than he is in the world. This is why I hear most teachers saying, and you were dead in the trespasses and sins in which you once walked. Yikes. And look down here. Where is it at? Among who we all once lived in the passions of our flesh. So he's talking to everybody. He's like, you were dead, but hey, we all once lived among them and we were all dead. Okay. In which he once walked, following the course of this world, following the prince of the power of the air. People are like, that's Satan. Because you followed the course of this world, the prince of the powers of the air. Well, the world, it's God's world. Okay, the prince of the power of the air. What's that? Okay, let's see. The spirit that is now at works in the sons of disobedience. So they're sons of disobedience. They're characterized by disobedience. They're not children of disobedience. Like I had a baby and my name is disobedience, and now my baby is a son of disobedience. You know, that'd be a weird name if you had like my name's BJ and then I have three sons. They are sons of BJ. But let's say all three of these sons were really bad people. I could say they're sons of evil. Am I evil? No, but they're acting bad. It's the way they're characterized, sons of disobedience. Watch this verse 3. Among whom we all once lived. Okay, in the passions of our flesh, carrying out the desires of the body and the mind, and were by nature children of wrath. So are they children of wrath? Are they sons of a thing called wrath? No, no. Sons of disobedience, sons of wrath, characterized by it. Passions of our flesh is supposed to be a bad thing, carrying out the desires of the body rather than forsaking the body and doing good things. You just indulge your flesh. It's a bad thing, right? Yeah, supposed to be a bad thing. Um, because then, but God, being rich in mercy, because of the great love with which He loved us, even when we were dead in our trespasses. When was that? When we were, and you were dead in your trespasses and sins. When you were dead, He made us alive together with Christ. So this is bad. This is good. Just a little simple, quick. We could go look elsewhere, but we're not in the book of Ephesians. We're in the book of First John. Prince of the power of the air. If you're following the prince of the power of the air, you look in the Old Testament in Daniel, and Daniel, see, going back to the Old Testament, Daniel calls some people princes who are like spiritual beings. There's good spiritual bad guys, there's good spiritual beings, bad spiritual beings. Am I saying this guy was reading Daniel as he was writing Ephesians, or he just had, he had Daniel in him? Maybe, but we're not sure. But he does use the word prince of the power of the air. Here, go to 2 Corinthians 4. 2, 3, 4. What are we looking at again in First John? Most people think he who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. Most people see that as Satan. He who's in, because it's he, just one. But then look, they are from the world. So greater is he who is in you, a spirit, God, the spirit of God, greater than he who is in the world. So the spirit of the world, the one spirit. And then you go say they, so now back to the prophets. So it could be talking about Satan, talking about false prophets, and hey, you've overcome the false prophets. Why? God is greater than Satan, who empowers the people in the world. The prophets are from the world. They're from the world. The greater is Satan. Could be that. Satan is in the world. They are from the world. Therefore, they speak from the world. The world listens to them. We are from God. Look here in Ephesians. Where's it at? Okay, here we go. Therefore, having this ministry by the mercy of God, we do not lose heart, but we have renounced disgraceful, underhanded ways. That's good. We refuse to practice cunning or tamper with God's word. Okay. But by the open statement of the truth, we would commend ourselves to everyone's conscience in the sight of God. Hey, um, you judge us in the sight of God. We're not doing anything sneaky or underhanded. Okay. Judge us with your own conscience and judge us to everyone's conscience in the sight of God. We're open. We're not tampering with God's word. We refuse to practice cunning. No, we're open. Okay. Even if our gospel is veiled, oh, so maybe he was being accused of preaching a veiled gospel. No, no, no. We're preaching to you. Look, we are preaching openly. But hey, if we preach openly, yet our gospel is veiled, I mean, if we preach openly, yet what we preach is veiled, what could that mean? It is veiled to those who are perishing. Veiled to those who are perishing. In their case, the God, there's a small g there. Most translators have a small g. The God of this world has blinded the mind of the unbelievers to keep them from seeing the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ, who is in the image of God. They're veiled by who? The God of this world. So Paul's like, hey, we are preaching the message openly, but to perishing people it is veiled. No, no, but we're preaching it. Well, why is it veiled to them? If we're not being cunning, if we would commend ourselves to everyone's conscience, if we're preaching openly, for what we proclaim is not ourselves, but Jesus Christ is Lord. Okay? If we proclaim that, if we're saying that, look at this. The light. It's light. You can't see in the dark, but you can see in the light. Let light shine. Look, we are being open in the light. And how come some people don't see it? The God of this world has blinded the minds of the unbelievers. The God of this world. Greater is he who is in you than the one who is in, than he who is in the world. For he who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. The God of the world. Prince of the power of the air. The air is in our world, is it? Okay. People tend to think in First John, he's talking about Satan. Could be, Could be talking about the prevailing spirit. Could be talking about the false prophets. Then it could have said those who are in the world. So greater is the spirit. You have the spirit. The world has false spirits. You have the true spirit. They have many false spirits, many false prophets. They're from the world because see, it goes right back to they. So you're gonna hear people say this is about Satan. It could be, could be about the false prophets. You know, I'm gonna kind of let's see. Every spirit that does not confess Jesus is not from God. This is the spirit of the Antichrist. The spirit. So many false tests. There are spirits, and there are many false prophets. But then there's every spirit that does not confess Jesus is not from God. So every spirit that does not. So multiple spirits. Every spirit. That means there's more than one. It wouldn't say every spirit that does not confess Jesus is not from God. This is the spirit of the Antichrist. Wait. So all the spirits that don't confess Jesus is God, that don't confess Jesus isn't from God. It should say those are the spirits of the Antichrist. But it switches to a singular. Why did it do? I don't know. It's crazy. You see why people would get confused? And then they would come down here and they would see it's singular again. Right here. Greater is he who is in you than he who's in the world. The spirit of Antichrist is in the world. But the spirits who are of the spirit of Antichrist are in the world. Or maybe this is the spirit could be. I've always thought like you think of spirit like a general a general spirit of people. Like everybody's happy. So you say, oh, there's spirit of happiness in here. There's an atmosphere of happiness. There's a the conversation is one of happiness. Everybody, there's an aura of happiness. Aura, or aura, atmosphere. Um, that's what I think of spirits. But up here, it's saying test the spirits. So it's talking about literal things, not talking about like an attitude or a concept. Some actual spirits. But then you have a spirit. Then you have he who is in the world, and then they are from the world. Talking about Satan could be. You're going to hear that a lot. Could be talking about the false prophets. A spirit, maybe, like Satan, controlling all the other spirits, maybe. I'm not sure. We're from God. Whoever knows God listens to us. Whoever is not from us, is not from God, does not listen to us. By this we know the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. The spirit of truth and the spirit of error. Test the spirits because there's the spirit. All right. Let's go. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is from God. So there's a look at this. You see all this? That's not in the Bible. Those are the subtitles. But that tells us that all seven of these people think that there's a break here. If seven translations, which is made up of a committee of translators, so multiple very smart people who have made like a career of studying this all their life, that's what they went to school for. That's what they done for a job. All they've all agreed, whether you all unanimously or partially, they've all agreed enough that every one of them thinks there's a break here. Every Bible. If you go over here, I think it's all yeah. There's one, two, three. But some of these don't have a like see one, two, three. They don't have a like a thing anyway. They don't have subtitles at all. So they all, yeah, yeah. Oh, wait, there's a break there. Okay, okay. Some Bible translations, like you got the LSB literal standard version. I don't think it has any subtitles anywhere. If we go down, see there's a subtitle. We go down, subtitle. Well, this one, New King James, lots of subtitles. I bet the literal standard version doesn't have any. Just my guess. Because it's supposed to be a literal. So don't go add no subtitles. All right. Love let us one love one another, for love is from God. Whoever loves has been born of God and knows God. Born. Let's go look. Right here. 1 John 8 occurrences of the word born. Type in born. Let's go. At least in the ESV. If you know that he is righteous, you may be sure that everyone who practices righteousness has been born of him. No one born of God makes a practice of sinning, for God's seed abides in him, and he cannot keep on sinning because he has been born of God. So born of God. And then look, 1 John 4:7. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is from God, and whoever loves has been born of God and knows God. 1 John 5:1. Everyone who believes that Jesus Christ has been born of God. So everyone who believes Jesus has been born of God. Everyone who loves the Father loves whoever has been born of him. You love whoever is born of the Father. Some people think that the born of him is Jesus, so you love Jesus. I would say it's both. Everyone that believes Jesus is the Christ has been born of God. And if you love the Father, then you're going to love Jesus and you're going to love the people born of God. Like me, look at this. Whoever loves has been born of God, knows God. Let us love one another. Whoever loves has been born of God. Okay. No one born of God makes a practice of sinning. Hopefully, I'm born of God, for God's seed abides in him. I hope God's seed is abiding in me. Right here. If you know that he is righteous, you may be sure that everyone who practices righteousness has been born of him. Jesus is righteous. So if I practice righteousness, I've been born of him. So right here, everyone who loves the Father loves those who have been born of him. So other brothers and sisters in Christ who have been born of God. If I love the Father, then I'm going to love them. So that's right. Two options here. I've heard teachers say, who has been born of him is Jesus. Because if you love the Father, you're going to love the Son. Whoever loves the Father loves the Son also. That's from John, I think. The Gospel of John. Might be from 1 John. So if you do love the Father, you're gonna love the Son. But if you love the Father, you're also gonna love the one born of him. If we were to go back to 1 John 4:9, or 4 at the end, that is. And the commandment, this is John, 1 John chapter 4. So we haven't gotten here yet, but we're in chapter. Okay. And this commandment we have from him. Whoever loves God must also love his brother. Like this, NESB and sister. The NET, his fellow Christian too. Yeah. If you love God, God love your fellow Christian too. Whoever believes in the Son of God has a testimony in himself. That's good. Got the oh, if we receive the testimony of men, we receive what men tell us. Like my wife is like, hey, if you go to the store today, milk will be on sale. I'm like, oh, okay. I prove I believe her whenever I go to the store. I mean, I must think she's correct. Why would I drive all the way to the store for nothing? A pilot says, "Hey, you're gonna get on the airplane. I'm gonna fly you to Chicago. that plane could fall out of the air. What if the pilot can't fly? You getting on the plane and going to Chicago, you're trusting the pilot. We receive the testimony of men. Men testify things and we believe them. I testify, I saw that person commit the crime. Okay, we believe you. We have evidence. The person confessed to it. Yeah, we believe you that if we believe testimony of men, well, the testimony of God is greater. For this is the testimony of God that he has been born concerning his son. Oh, well, all different, doesn't it? Whoever believes in the Son of God, so first 5:9, 5:10. Whoever believes in the Son of God has a testimony in himself. This is the testimony of God. Whoever believes in the Son of God has that testimony in himself. Who does not believe in God has made him a liar. You're going to make his son or God a liar? Because he has not believed in the testimony that God has borne. Born as in given to us. For this is the testimony of God that he has given concerning his son. I don't know why because that's just saying born with the E on the end of it. We read born up here, and then we read born down here. We don't necessarily see the spelling is different, but we hear the same word, and so we're thinking the same thing. The testimony of God that has been given concerning his son. That makes sense. Okay. We know that everyone who has been born of God does not keep on sinning. But he has been born of God. But okay, everyone who has been born of God does not keep sinning. But he who has been born of God protects him, and the evil one does not touch him. He who has been born of God protects him. Maybe you protect your brother, and the evil one doesn't touch your brother. Maybe. I mean, we could look at the full chapter of chapter 5, but we're in chapter 4. Let's go look at it. Oh, it's all by itself. Oh, if anyone sees his brother committing a sin, okay. He who has been born of God protects him, protects his brother. Okay. And the evil one does not touch him. Okay. That's good to know. That's good to know. I'm just going to keep yawning for it. Now that's born language. Over here, verse, what is it? Beloved, let us love one another, for love is from God, and whoever loves has been born of God and knows God. What about birth? I'm going to type in birth. Oop, birth. I don't know what that is. Birth. Burn and birth. Okay, birth. No John. No First John. No First John. But there is a Gospel of John. Let's go see. Just see if it matches. As he passed by, he saw a man blind from his birth. When a woman is giving birth, she has sorrow because he has, I don't think that's the same kind of born of birth. Born of God. A man blind from when he was born, from when he was born of God. No, just like as a human born. When a woman is giving birth, like she's evangelizing, and then as she's evangelizing, someone starts to believe, and then they're being born of God. She's giving birth to that person. No, she has sorrow because her hour has come. But when she has delivered the baby, she no longer remains. Okay, so birth doesn't get as much, but born did. So look at born in the Gospel of John. Why not? Hello. Oh, sorry. There's First John. There's no second and third John. There's Revelation. But look at this. Gospel of John 21. Who were born. Okay. The true light, which gives light to everyone, was coming into the world. This is chapter 1, verse 9. Now, verse 10. He was in the world, the true light was in the world. In the world. Now many false prophets are in the world. Man, this is awesome. But Jesus was in the world, right? And John's like, no, he really was in the world. Why? Like, we promise he was in the world. Or should we just go to the Bible? You know, the book of the Bible. Okay, First John. All right, here we go. God, wait. Do do do. Okay, cross ref pre parallel chapters. I think this will work. I think it should have. Okay, okay, good, good. Okay, where's that? The true light, which gives light to everyone, everyone. But remember, Paul said, "Hey, some people it's veiled, a little different." That's First Corinthians. We're looking to John. He's coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made through him. Yet the world did not. The world wasn't birthed through him. It was made through him, and the world did not know him. How he was in the world. Okay. Why did I go back to came to bear witness about the light? They know the light is in the world. That which was from the beginning, which we have heard, which we have seen with our eyes, which we have looked upon and have touched with our hands concerning the word of life. The life was made manifest. We have seen it and testified to it and proclaim to you. They've seen it. They've touched it. They've heard it. They're testifying about it. I'm not sure what point I was making over here. Man, the true light, which does give light to everyone, was coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, yet the world did not know him. He's in the world, he makes the world. He's in the world doesn't know him. He came to his own, and his own people did not receive him. Jesus was Jewish. He came to the Jews, they didn't receive him. But to all who did receive him, who believed in his name. What's it over here? Whoever loves has been born of God. Remember, it said if you're born of God, then you'll love the brothers and you'll love God. If you're born of God, you'll do this. If you follow his commandments, you're proving you're born of God. Okay, he came to his own, all who did receive him, who believed in his name, he gave right to become children of God. How are you, child? You're born. Oh, there's my wife coming down the stairs. She's so pretty. Oh, there she goes. Oh, she's leaving. Oh, I scared her off. She's like, bye. It's hot outside. She'll come in. Children of God. Children are born. And we could say children by adoption. Paul does say we're adopted by God. That's Paul. But John often talks about birth language. Control F. What did I say? Born? Oh, okay. He gave the right to become children of God who were born not of blood. So we're not talking about physical birth, nor of the will of the flesh, not blood, not flesh, not by man, but of God. God. Whoever loves has been born of God. Go back. See the shadow? That was my wife. I have seen. Oh, look at this. Born witness. They trick us with this word born. They put an E there. And they're like, it's the same word. We're like, it's not the same. It's different. And it's also different from the Born Identity, some of my favorite movies. Anyway, all right. Jesus answered him, truly, truly, I say to you, unless one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. Nicodemus said, how can a man be born when he is old? He's taking it literally. No, Jesus. Jesus answered, truly, I say to you, unless one is born of water. See, 3:3, 3:4, 3:5, 3:6, 3:7, 3:8. That whole chapter is about born. Yes. So it is with everyone who is born of the Spirit. So that's John language. We got born, we got children, the children of God. Yeah, pretty cool. Like Jesus said, you're not literally born. Nicodemus, am I going to crawl back into my mom's womb and be born again? And Jesus says, if you're born of water and the Spirit, it's a metaphor for being saved, right? If you walk in the light, you love your brother and sister. Go back to John, 1 John 3. Oh, hey, this. See what kind of love the Father. Let's go look at the 1 John 3. We've been looking at the ESV the whole time, so we'll just stick with the ESV over here on the left. See what kind of love the Father. So he's a father. A father has children. I don't have children. I'm not a father. Ain't nobody been born of me. So I'm not a father. But if we've been born of God, then he is our Father. See what kind of love the Father has given to us, that we should be called children of God. Children of God. We were born of him. Oh, I see another thing about world. And so we are. So we are children of God. The reason why the world does not know us is that it did not know him. The world. The world is where those false prophets are. They don't know us. They went out from us to prove they were never among us. That it did not know him. It proves they didn't know him. Mhm. Beloved, we are now God's children. We are God's children now. And what we will be has not yet appeared. So we are God's children now. What are we going to be in the future? I guess we're going to change to something else. I mean, we're God's children. That's all I really care about. But hey, there's more coming. Pretty cool. We know that when he appears, we shall be like him because we shall see him as he is. Remember, when he appears, who's in the world now? The Antichrist. We're waiting for Jesus to appear. Okay, I was looking for a specific thing. Little children, we're born of God. Let no one deceive you. Whoever practices righteousness is righteous as he is righteous. It talked about if you're born of God, you practice righteousness. We saw that somewhere, right? Yeah. Whoever makes a practice of sinning is of the devil. Jesus talks about your father, the devil, in the Gospel of John because they were wanting to kill Jesus. Jesus like, y'all want to kill me? Y'all think, and they're like, we don't want to kill you. He's like, yeah, you do. And they're like, you have a demon. So, and he's like, your father is the devil. So whatever. Yeah, people call saying people, you have a demon. You know, you're born of fornication. They said, you know, they want to kill him. They're being mean. They're doing stuff that Satan did. They are children of Satan. They have been born of Satan, we could say. You see the analogy of birth. Oh, it's not an analogy, it's literal. We're God's. We have faith. We're saved by grace through faith. We're saved. We're God's people. Why not use an analogy of being born? That's what they were doing. You know, they were using this born language, birth language. I like it. No one born of God makes a practice of sinning. We talked about that. But this is ever who are the children of God and who are the children of the devil. Whoever does not practice righteousness is not of God, or we could say born of God, nor is the one who does not love his brother. I mean, it's just repeating itself. The Gospel of John does that. And the book of 1 John does that. The book of First just repeats itself over and over again. You're like, I'm confused by this. Okay, go read a few chapters before. You're in chapter 4 and you're like, I'm confused. Go back to chapter 3, start reading in any random verse. Whoa, he's saying the same thing. Why would he say the same thing over and over again? That's what people do. I do that myself. I tend to say the same thing over and over again myself. And often You will find people trying to say new and different things in order to like sound smart and such. It does prove that if you say a bunch of different things and you're saying more things, you have more information. Guess you're smarter, but we don't really care about that. We care about being holy and being God's children, being born of God. This is the message that you have heard from the beginning, that we should love one another. We should be born of God, and we should not be like Cain, who was of the evil one and murdered his brother. Two people born of the same parents, one murders the other one. No good. Why did he murder him? Because his own deeds were evil and his brother's righteous. They had to be evil. Cain must have been of his father, the devil. Don't be surprised, brother, that the world hates you. There's false prophets in the world. They don't like you. They're not born of God. It proved that they were not of us. There might have been people who were of us who went into the world, and then there are people who's just always been in the world. Okay. We get away from the born in the children. Look at this. We know we have passed out of death into life. I say we get away, but like I guess we're passing in the life. Like a baby's in the womb passes into real life. But no, this the baby wasn't dead in the womb and then and alive when it came out. Passed out of death into life because we love the brothers. Whoever does not love abides in death. So now we've got another metaphor. Another analogy kind of. We had a born. We're children of God. Now we've got Cain is evil and murdered his brother. Do not be surprised, brothers, that the world hates you. We pass from death to life because we love the brothers. We pass from death into life. Whoever does not love abides in death. You're not a brother. Everyone who hates his brother, like Cain hated Abel, is a murderer. See, we got lots of different metaphors, lots of different analogies, symbolisms, ways of describing it. By this we know love, that he laid down his life for us. We also ought to lay down life for our brothers. Well, he didn't murder us. He laid down his life for us. He, when we murder, we take someone else's life. He gave his own life. See, see there? But we've gotten away from born and birth. Let's see. Whether I need against him, how to love God. Little children. Children can be brothers and born. I guess brothers can be born. I guess it's all family language. You're born in the family of God. You have brothers. You are God's children. It's all family language. Yeah. They would be like, so in a corporate business or in the military, and I'm like, hey, something more organic, something more natural. Before you're in the military, before you're in a company, before you, like I often say, me and my wife are discussing something, and I'm like, it's like a baseball team. And she's like, stop using sports analogies. I don't even know much about sports. I don't follow baseball games and stuff, but I always I watch sports clips on YouTube. Kind of fun. I'm always using sports analogies, and I try to think of other ones. Um, but here, the analogies they're using is of a family. What comes before somebody goes to be a professional baseball player? Before they go to the military, before they go to a company, before they go to school or daycare. No, they're in a family. They're at least born. I guess they could be born and then, you set them on the doorstep of a monastery and you run off. Well, now the monastery becomes their family. I guess they could be born out in an alleyway and just left for dead. That's no fun. Yikes. But generally, the most natural unit is the family unit you're born into, your children. You've got brothers and sisters there. And Jesus said, who is my mother and brother and sisters? Those who do the will of God are my sister and my brothers and my mother. Pretty cool. So now condemns us, we reassure our heart, condemns we have confidence before God. So we're done kind of with the that was my dryer screaming at me that the clothes are dry. Whoever keeps his commandments abides in God. So we've gotten away now, real quick, in these few verses from the family language at all. But not really, because God is our family. Jesus is our brother. We are told in, not in John, but in Romans 8, we are Christ's brothers. We are becoming the children of God, and we are brothers with Christ. Pretty cool, huh? So Paul uses family language too. It's good stuff, huh? But so yeah, I was if a preacher preaches, you're listening to a Bible teacher and they're like, we're gonna go verse by verse, and they go very methodically. Are they gonna mention any or all the stuff all or even any? They're gonna mention the stuff that I just mentioned, maybe some of it. They're gonna say it a different way, probably. Um, are they gonna pick up different things? Probably so. Last time I talked about spirits and stuff over and over again. This time I did at the beginning. Then I started talking about born language, being born, being brothers, passing from death into life. I got in all sorts of stuff. Like I said, what one pastor, like I said at the beginning of the video, what one pastor, preacher, teacher, professor, whoever, what one random weirdo guy like me, what one person says is going to be possibly very different from what another person says. And we're going to be tempted to go, wait, they're not agreeing with each other. That could be it. But more likely, if we're both just teachers of the Bible, we're both just read the Bible and we explain it, and we're not trying to force our own views into it, then most likely we're just going to be getting different emphasis from it. Like I said, I talked about being born, then talked about family and brothers and sisters, then they talked about death and life. And before this, we talked about spirits. And I kept going back to he who is in the world, if your brother is in the world. So I emphasized like 5 things there. Often pastors and teachers and stuff will emphasize like one thing because you're trying to get through a message. The teacher needs to teach in a certain amount of time, needs to get it done. I can talk as long as I want, so I just go all over the place. So different people are going to emphasize different things. I might have emphasized something you should have never heard. Or that if you listen to 3 other teachers that teach on First John, they might emphasize completely different stuff. Hopefully they're not wacko or I'm not wacko. Yeah. So don't let that throw you off. All right, guys. Where did we get? We looked at verse 1. We got down to verse 7. Yeah, yeah. I think that's it. It's gonna be 3 videos in a row on verses 1 through 7. That's okay. It doesn't matter. All right. Since my clothes just dinged, I gotta go. So we will see you all. Let's make my face a little bigger. Just so I can say bye. Bye. Love you much. God bless you in the name of Christ. We'll see you in the next very basic Bible video. Unless you come to my house or something. But that'd be strange. I don't even live in a house. Tricked you. Okay, bye.